Guys, we are experiencing some problems with the connection. Let's wait a few minutes until more people get connected again, and we will continue this webinar session. There are about 5 minutes left. We are nearly finished, and then we will move to the session question answers. Guys, let's wait another 2-3 minutes. I'll bring some water and then we'll continue. Eric, there is sound. We're just waiting for another a few minutes until more people get reconnected again. Apologies, we're experiencing some issues with the internet connection or webinar platform. So just wait 2-3 minutes and we're going to continue. Dear Ziad, yes, we can use this opportunity until more people will get reconnected again. So let's have a closer look to our stand behind. So here we have a stand of the tractor. The stands that we usually do for some exhibitions, for some marketing campaigns, for those partners that want to have it. It is possible to order also for you guys if you want to promote and see how it works. If you want to teach your engineers, this system is quite good to have it. So the idea, the bloodlines is a S6 system, the cable, this one, and the heart is CAN-up gateway. Okay, so we can, as you can see, we can switch it off and switch it on, play around with it. We can, you see on the dashboard, there's also imitator of the CAN bus, of the different values that we can see here on the dashboard, voltage, onboard power, pressure, different parameters here. At the same time, we can have different parameters displayed on this screen, and all the info that is running in the system, fuel level from these tanks, CAN bus data available here can be transmitted further to the server and also can be displayed on this screen. At this stage, more than 10,000 parameters we can display and transmit to the server. So including ISO bus that's usually used in agri sector. So yeah, there are also other available stands, not only the tractors, there are also diesel generator, truck, vessel, locomotive. You can ask your contact person, your sales manager, Technoton. He will give you more information about it. We can also demonstrate how imitate starting kicking on the engine of this tractor. Let's see what will happen. Okay, so I hope you can hear the noise. That means the engine is running. There is a fuel flow. Okay. Flowmeter is counting. Indicator calculates the pulses. Fuel level in one tank is dropping, in another tank is rising. Obviously, that's a demonstration stand, so we should find a way where to push this fuel from one tank to another one. So also, you can see different parameters here on the dashboard when this tractor is running. Okay, so let's put it off. So all the dashboard is just switched off. Okay, no flow rates, no any LED indicators flashing. The system is off. Obviously, on a CAN-up standard, there is a backup battery, so it still communicates with the server. Okay, so you see there's a GSM, GNS connection, power. So for some time it will be flashing. Okay. I suppose we can continue our webinar, continue discussing DFM industrial fuel flow meters. Let me check how many people on board. I hope this number is increasing. Okay, more or less. Yeah, okay, we have around 20, maybe a bit more people. Okay, that's That's good. I suppose we can continue this presentation. Okay. The slide we finished on DFM industrial. Let me just quickly get there. Okay. Apologies, guys, for these disconveniences. So we have some issues with the web server. So it looks like connection is good now. So talking about DFM industrial and DFM marine. As I said earlier, there's a difference between DFM marine and DFM industrial. DFM marine and small DFM DFMs with the flow rates from 0.5 liters an hour up to 4,000 liters an hour, the biggest DFM marines that we have. The operation principle on these full flow meters is oscillating piston. So there is a chamber. There is a chamber, this one, okay, and there is a piston inside. It's turning. One turn is equal one pulse. Okay, so the volume of each chamber, that means one pulse. So, for example, DFM 100, the small one, has a chamber of 5 milliliters. That means one pulse is equal 5 milliliters of fuel. Okay, so calculating number of pulses we're getting, we can calculate fuel consumption. When it comes to DFM industrial, here is a bit different story. The working principle of DFM industrial is different. It's an oval gear working principle. Okay, so there are rotating gears inside. You can ask your sales manager, or you can just simply log in and check our document center and download operation manual for DFM industrial. There's definitely English version available. So you will see that inside of DFM industrial, there are two rotating gears. What advantages of this working principle that used on DFM industrial? Advantage is that the main advantage that we can measure fuels of much higher viscosity. For example, like here on, you can see on the slide application, we can use those kind of DFM industrials that we have. Please note they also available only with the flanges, because the flow rate that this DFM industrial coping as massive. DFM 7,000 liters an hour and DFM 25,000 liters an hour. That's usually a massive industrial system, storage tanks of huge capacity, huge diesel generators, more than 4,000 HP, fuel tanker trucks, dispensing systems of the fuel tanker trucks. So we can put DFM industrial and measure fuel volume dispensed from the tanker. Obviously, important parameters still stay in flow rate, minimum and maximum flow rate. It's a key still. It's the same story with the small flow meters, same story with DFM Marine, same story with the DFM Industrial. We need to make sure that the flow rate of the application is in range of DFM Industrial that we are using. If, let's say, we have DFM 7,000 Industrial and the maximum flow rate this flow meter can cope is 7,000 liters, that means we do not recommend to use this flow meter on the application where the flow rate is 11,000 liters an hour. On that application, it makes sense to use DFM Industrial 25,000, a bigger one. Also, vessel transport, DFM Industrial, I suppose, is the biggest market where we can use DFM Industrial, because there are massive engines where the fuel consumption can reach up to 1,500, probably even 2,000 liters an hour. You just imagine 2,000 liters an hour fuel consumption on some ships. And usually there's not just one engine, there are a pair or sometimes even more than just two engines. And those machines, those monsters consume huge amount of fuel. And please note, it's not only diesel, but quite often there is a used heavy furnace oil. Some countries call it HF4, in other countries it's marine oil, etc. But with DFM industrial, we can measure also those kind of fuels because of the working principle used on DFM industrial. So same number of parameters counters that we can get, like we reviewed earlier on DFM Marine. Also, DFM Industrial goes autonomous, just with a display, without any output interface, and also the DFM Industrial that goes with a display and output interface. Same story, same parameters we can get on DFM Industrial. Okay, so also would like to point your attention to kinematic viscosity of the liquid that DFM Industrial can measure. It's usually between 0.55 up to 300 centistocks. So here is an example of DFM Marine in the United States. There was a project where the client wanted to monitor how efficiently his mining site is operated, what amount of fuel consumed per 1 ton of produced mining rock. So the environment there is very tough, rugged terrain condition. Imagine mining truck, mining excavator. They operate in a dusty conditions. DFM Marine is running perfectly in those conditions and provide accurate information about fuel consumption, about engine running time and different modes, and another more than 20 different parameters. Please note that DFM with CAN interface. So just to conclude about DFM Marine and DFM Industrial, that allows you guys to expand your product portfolio, that you can search for new targets, for new market niches. You can give something more to your existing clients. Also, you can go to another market niches. So with our help, with the help of our sales team, technical support, we definitely will be glad to review it, to offer the right DFM Marine scenario, the right cabling system, the right DFM Industrial if needed. So yeah, I think we done with webinar for today with a main presentation, and now I'll be glad to answer your questions. What is the main difference between DFM Marine fuel flow meter and the fuel flow meter discussed earlier? The difference between marine fuel flow meters and meters discussed earlier is first, it depends on the angle you're looking from. So first of all, flow meters that were discussed earlier can be used on a small application. That's a small vehicle engine, small diesel generator engine, where the flow rate, maximum flow rate can be 600 liters an hour. With DFM Marine, DFM Industrial, we expand it. We expand applications where we can use flow meter, where we can measure fuel consumption, where we can detect other more than 20 parameters. Can DFM Marine be used with water pump? DFM Marine used for measuring fuel flow only. If you want to use flow meter that we do DFM Marine, DFM Industrial for measuring water, it's not the product to use. But if you want to use DFM Marine on a water pump engine that is basically drives the water pump, yeah, we can use DFM Marine in this case. Can marine be used with heating oil? Yes, it can be used. Same as DFM Industrial. А что ты хочешь? Also, my colleague just reminded me that I forgot to tell you quite important moment that DFM Marine, DFM Industrial can be used for measuring heavy furnace oil, heated heavy furnace oil. As you understand, majority of the vessels that running not close to the coast, but that's running in an open sea. At the port, they running on diesel, but when they leave in the port and depending on a country, when they there's a distance like 30 or 50 kilometers from the coast, they switching engines from diesel to heavy furnace oil. Okay, so with DFM Marine and DFM Industrial, we can measure those fuels too. There are special versions where DFM Marine or DFM Industrial body is linked with a head that is located a little different. Some 20 or 30 centimeters away from the body. Because imagine, heavy furnace oil is heated up to 120, 130 degrees. That's a lot. And just a regular DFM Marine or DFM Industrial with attached microboard, it can get just melted. So that's why we have another edition, another version of DFM Marine and DFM Industrial with a separate board, with a separate head that is actually placed 20 centimeters away of the measuring part of the flow meter. Another question, can be also use DFM at fuel station? Yes, it can be. Usually DFM Marine and DFM Industrial is installed on the dispensing nozzle. So imagine there is underground tanks at the petrol station. There is a nozzle, right? And so usually we put flow meter, not exactly on the output of the nozzle, it's just at the beginning where the hose starts. So that is the place where we usually put the flow meter. Can Dfm be used to create custom dispensers? Dear Joshua, yes, it is possible to use Dfm for this purpose. Do you need a minimum length of, sorry, I just have some screen here coming out, you can see. Okay. Antonio, do I install 1 or 2 flow meter in a ship to understand how many diesel liters are being used? Dear Antonio, it depends. Either sometimes we need to use just 1 flow meter, sometimes we need to use 2. Need to study the fuel system of the ship. They're usually the projects that the separate companies that make a design of the ship, where the fuel system explained in details. Usually we ask our partners to get that fuel system scheme and send it to us. Then we analyze it with our technical team. We sometimes developers of those fuel systems schemes, they already have an appointed place where flow meter should be used. So and we just need to get 1 or 2 flow meters, and we already know where exactly it should be installed. There another situation where there's no any information available, no fuel schemes at all. In this case, we need to have a good engineer on board that understands the fuel system of the ship very well. We need to understand how the fuel goes from the main tank, how it goes through the different filters, booster pumps, further to the engines, and need to analyze return lines on that vessel, and then consider the best place where to place flow meter. Either 1 flow meter, sometimes need to use 2 flow meters. So it's quite tricky, and based on my previous experience, the projects that been working before on the vessel, I need to tell you that it's quite complicated when it comes to massive ships that have a massive engine installed that running as on diesel, as on heavy furnace oil. They also need to analyze filtration system, need to analyze booster pump, like the last project that we discussed in Adriatic. There was a booster pump produced, I suppose, by Wärtsilä, and that booster pump, it's like a massive machine that regulates the flow rate, that regulates the pressure, everything. So we spent quite a lot of time to analyze that information, and then we got an additional information about fuel system. So in total, there were around 10 different documents on the ship, specifically about fuel system of that ship, right? So about booster pump, about the filters, about the fuel lines, about fuel tanks. We analyzed that, and on one scheme, we noticed that there is a place where flow meter should be installed. After several days of analyzing and negotiation with a partner, with the end client, we concluded that only 1 fuel flow meter should be used. There was a ship with two engines, and there was a possibility to install 2 flow meters, just one for for one engine and another one for the second engine. There were no need to put flow meters on the return lines, because the fuel from the return lines was dropping back to the tanks before passing through the flow meters that install on the supply line. So yeah. Okay, is there a possibility to store data in the DFM and make a random read out with an external laptop, for example? Question by Heiko. Dear Heiko, yes, there's possibility to all DFM flow meters with a display, with an interface. And they have counters inside that's accessible with the help of service kit, service program. You can attach it to your laptop and check different parameters there. Let's say what is the fuel consumption, total fuel consumption, what the fuel consumption at idle mode, nominal mode, engine running time at all this mode, and total. All that info can be accessed using their laptop. Is there any internal memory in DFM to store data or fuel? Dear Yogesh, yes. Each DFM Marine, DFM Industrial, and majority of all little flow meters, they go with a built-in battery that keeps all the data recorded, right? So it powers the microbot to store the data. That battery lasts for minimum 3 years. Hey, mister, here's the cheapest version for Komatsu. Dear Andre, the cheapest version probably is an autonomous fuel flow meter. It costs a few $100 less than DFM with an interface, so you can consider that option. Can we get all data in DFM by means of some protocol like Modbus, RTU, or? Dear Hussein, DFM Marine, DFM Industrial, small DFM, they available with different output interfaces. There are Pulse interface, there are RS-232 interface, there are RS-485 interface, there's a CAN interface. Flow meters, small flow meters with flow rate capacity from 0.5 liters an hour up to 600 liters an hour. Model 485 able to communicate based on either DFM COM protocol or Modbus RTU protocol. Bigger flow meters, DFM Marine, DFM Industrial goes with Pulse interface and CAN interface. If there is a need to convert that interface into Modbus protocol, there are special converters available at Technoton that can convert CAN into Modbus RTU. Guys, so we're already nearly 1.5 hours together. Probably 20 minutes we were fighting with a web platform. But thanks God we fixed those issues. So please shoot more your questions. If you have any, I'll be glad to answer. In the meantime, please also know that next week we also continuing our webinars. On Monday we'll talk more about axle-load sensors. Then we'll continue to talk most likely on Wednesday about contactless canvas readers. Then on Thursday, I suppose, we will continue our discussion about different converters, master-can, displays, and other stuff. Maybe that will be a different platform because we experiencing these issues with a platform already for the second time. The first time I was presenting last Monday, we also had an issue, and I don't know, this platform looks like this platform hates only me. Other my my colleagues doing this presentation pretty well, and they not were experiencing any issues. So, but please note, next week most likely we'll be using different platform, and most likely it will be Zoom. So, if there are no any more questions, I would like to thank you guys for being with us today, following our express webinar about Dfm Marine, Dfm Industrial. We'll be glad to answer more questions. Also, all our sales managers will be glad to answer any question you have. So please stay with us. Thank you for your time. Good weekend. Cheers. Bye.